is not considered like a free look. It's not a free pass like you would think on a regular transaction, that you're doing an inspection and you're going to come back to the seller and say, hey, you know what, these cosmetic repairs need to be done, this needs to be done, either reduce the price or do them before we close. It doesn't happen that way when I'm at home. So every one of you should realize exactly what you're doing when you're getting into these home inspections. So make sure you read this thoroughly in regards to the forfeiture of earnest money deposits for your investor purchasers. Investors, I'd say 95 to 99% that they're not going to get their earnest money deposit back. Make them aware of this. Their home inspection is not a free pass to get an earnest money deposit back. They're held to higher standards because they're investors. So just keep that in mind. They're risking $500 or $1,000. A lot of investors don't mind it because it's such a low earnest money deposit. Plus, some of them really thoroughly go through the house before they're putting a bid on it anyway. So just keep those things in mind when it comes to the earnest money deposit and home inspections. So prior to close of escrow, buyers may not do any home improvements, of course, don't occupy the property, don't change any locks, don't store any personal items. All these are prohibited and subject to cancellation and the forfeiture of the earnest money deposit. So please make sure your buyers follow these directions. Us designated closing agents for the 1S and 2S regions are going to be available on our website. Feel free to go on our website and find out who that is. And we're getting into contracts. Before we get in there, I'd like to answer a few questions and we're going to go on break. Yeah. Okay, should we go on break first? Yeah. So can we go first? Okay. So let's go some questions and answers before we move into contracts. That's all this is.
In our area, which is where we go in the
Okay. Great question. The question was in the area of Rico and Nogales, there's a lot of septic tanks and stuff like that in houses. If it is a requirement by the local ordinance, local government, and it is, I think, here, then HUD will pay for the septic inspection. However, they will not pay for the repairs. Okay? So keep that in mind when it comes to that. I'm sorry? Well, you guys have any experience on
septic inspection? Yeah, and it needs repair. You can do it. You can do an escrow. You can add it as an escrow repair.
And usually HUD will put that in. And I've actually had properties that were not IE or that needed a new appraisal. We had additional items, and I went back to HUD or the DLP and got that added as a repair escrow. So we're in.
Now I'm going to go through that on the next part here about some of those. Yes.
Regarding the winterization, I had a house I was selling to my client. We were looking at it in May. We were actually doing the home inspection in June. We went ahead and de-winterized it for the inspection. We filled it out with water, so we did the home inspection. Then the construction company, or the whatever you call those people, they said that my client had to spend $150 to re-winterize the home. And I said, well, it is June. And he said it doesn't matter because if you don't go through with it, who knows when the next person will be. And so here we are in June now, having to pay $150 to re-winterize the home. Is that correct? Because you said they winterize between what, January through May?
Yeah, don't quote me on the dates. I was just giving you the dates.
No, it's just that we were in the process of
I think it's September through May, but I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. That's a case specific, but certain, like I said, there's two field service managers, and they may have different rules in regards to the deposit that they require. So that's normal for them to require the 150.
Something that if we end up not defaulting or canceling, that they can later on re-winterize the home, but we were literally closing within 2 more weeks, and we we're still charged $150 for them to come back out and re-winterize the home, only for us to have to drain it,
Yeah, that's possible, but I really don't know because that's a case specific. I'm not too sure exactly the exact dates that happened and which field service manager that was. Case specific, it's hard to answer because I don't have anything in front of me to see that. But definitely, any other questions you have, I'd be glad to help you out with general questions.
Someone at DLP, if you don't agree with
Oh yeah. Contact us at DLP, contact the closing person, anybody in our closing department. Mark McCafferty is our closing manager in the 1S region. He's great, he'll help you out. His team's great in the 1S region, so definitely people that can help you, but I'll tell you one thing, the first contact should be the listing agent. The listing agents have great experience in regards to their services that they've dealt with. They can be a source of information that you were not even aware of. So please do that first. Let's go in the back.
You said that the condos and townhomes, the buyer doesn't have to qualify for the age group, the pre-designation for age communities 55 and you didn't say that.
No.
What did you say?
In regards to the condos or townhomes, they are, HUD is not, on the HUD REO, project approval is not required, meaning that that 51% owner occupancy in that complex is not a rule for the HUD homes.
Misunderstood.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, sir.
I had an agent that wrote an offer, the bid got accepted, and the buyer was doing financing. And when we went to turn on the utilities had been off for over 6 months, so we needed to get an electrical reconnect permit, needed some minor repairs. Buyer ended up losing his furnace money issue. We have had the foresight to contact the utility company before we would make an offer to make sure that we weren't going to need an electrical reconnect permit to turn on the utilities.
In this area,
That's local specific,
Yeah.
and you'll see that a lot if it's all for more than 6 months. And it's not a problem, you just gotta get your HUD process and inspections down. So as soon as you get an accepted bid, your first call is to the electric company. You find out it's been off for more than 6 months, so you schedule your inspection, which is the permit they have to pay when they close on the home anyway. And then you get your home inspector and your appraiser all ready to do the inspection after you have the utilities turned back on. And then as far as the re-winterization, make sure you get in touch with some home inspectors who are prepared for the HUD homes. You know, being great value, there are some differences, which is having to turn the utilities on for yourself. If you have your home inspector de-winterize for you and re-winterize, so that it's the same way, you can avoid that $150 charge to have the field service management company do it.
See, I told you, the first call should be the, because they are local here, they know exactly what's going on in the local market. Okay, anybody, nobody on this side, not quad on this side, all right, yes, ma'am.
One of the problems with that 6 months difference when the city or county inspector comes out, and there's a problem with the electrical, not being able to do any repairs in order to actually get the electricity turned on to do the home inspection. And then you have to move heaven and earth to get it done, or to shut up, get the work done, and go on. So, and if that happened, the problem, well, it's been an issue with mine.
And that was my fault, there was repairs needed.
Did you get through it?
Oh, yeah.
How did you get through it?
I went ahead and did repairs, and that's what I was doing, nobody knew the difference.
Ooh, okay, you did not hear that. You did not hear that.
Nobody used to work with the CCLB, I did not know that. Nobody would work with us on anything there.
Okay, bad example, guys. Like we never heard of them. Because one out of the house to the repairs. I really find it hard to believe that.
How do we get around that? That's my question. How do we?
Contact us.
I did.
We have a solution.
Yours.
We have a solution. Since it is another local issue with those type of city inspections, Sue can touch base on the PCR that comes with it. Sue?
There's on every HUD home, the inspector actually, there's an inspector that goes out prior to at the end of the day, it's called the property condition report, and they check all the utilities with the generator, with pressure for the water. As a lender, we can use that if you do your inspection and don't have utilities on. We can actually use that as proof that the utilities were on and they're working and everything's fine that way. But they are going into the little blind because they don't know if there's a lot of repairs that need to be done. But you cannot, and I've seen this happen where somebody has gone in and done some repairs and they cancel. The contract is canceled, no questions asked, they use it all, they use everything. You cannot do that. But the PCR report is a really good document. You should download that before you actually put that offer in and make sure your buyer sees what repairs or what was done as far as utilities go. And the capital.
All right. Okay, let's go with this. Back to you guys. Yes, ma'am.
If a parent wants to buy a home for a first-time buyer, which is a family member, is he automatically only considered as an investor?
Great question. If a parent wants to buy for their child, as owner occupants? Can the parent do so because they're technically not buying it for themselves? The answer is not as an owner occupant, unfortunately, no. If the parent's going to go on title, anybody that is on that contract, every person has to sign the owner occupancy agreement that says that you're going to owner occupy that property. So that's going to be considered investment property. Yes, sir.
Ray, let's say that it's an FHA insured, the buyer does their inspection, they do their final walkthrough, the air conditioner has been removed. Who's responsible?
Vandalism. That's unfortunate. That happens at times. And I will answer it real briefly, but I'll also maybe have one of our listing agents has experienced that here in the local market. But to my experience of what we've seen, normally there's a credit given, and keep in mind, the credit is not a full credit. You'll probably get a $500 credit on that air conditioning unit. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Nobody's going to pay you full on an air conditioning unit because a lot of times it's a used unit. So you're not going to ever get a full credit on it. But as an option that would be an option is to get that $500 credit, and that's of course based on you have to get a police report because it's a vandalism occurrence, and then of course submit it to us. But have you all experienced anything different?
Yeah, exactly right. $500 credit. Do the reporting to VLP Resources. Go on to VLPresources.com and download the change of financing form, like you mentioned, in insured property, and change to insured with escrow repair, and put in the amount that you need in addition to the $500 for that new AC unit, and that can be done after close of escrow.
Yes.
Is your lender to help you if you need help?
And I'll talk to you guys a little bit about how to do that change of finance in the future slides coming up, because that's an important part of changing it and kind of going around that where you can get some benefit. But of course, that's up to $5,000 on that, what Tim's talking about. You can't go over $5,000 because then that's going to get into a 203K. Yes, sir.
What happens, you talked about if the buyer reneges on the offer. What if it's the husband can't come to the table? What takes place? What